Good morning. We have Blanca joining us today, and we usually pre-film these in advance, so we've really missed a couple of days worth of opportunity to reach out to you guys, but there's a lot of craziness going on these days in the current events, and while we don't have answers as to what might be most effective in terms of taking any action, we do know that one of the most important places to start is with being conscious, being awake and aware and alert. We know everyone's exhausted thus far. I mean, 3-4 months or so into the pandemic, but really not a time to let off. So that also means taking care of yourself and those around you. So just taking these 20 minutes a day is going to be a huge step in the right direction. And then you can make some intelligent choices, how to best be effective in your choices and maybe to do something for what's going on in the world around you. But that's really what we're talking about today in terms of your practices, the idea of intelligence. It's not a judgment, right? It's more of an ability, a processing capability of your mind. So you have access to your memory, your past. You have access to being aware and awake of your ego and what your mind has to say. You're aware of your 5 senses. And we can make some choices about changing maybe past impressions, ingrained habits, ways in which we can move forward that better suit us today. That's all. So intelligence is always trying to figure out what's here in the present moment, and then we're fighting our mind and our memory, competing with that which is trying to attach all of our experiences to the past. So as you hop on your mat today, we're going to find your back. We're going to take just a moment to get rooted, and we'll take a little bit of supine twist. So you can take your right knee up and over. And as you settle in, you have some choices, right? Take in all of the information, internal, not about what happened yesterday, not about what your ego might have in terms of expectations, about what your low back or your knees or your hips could do right now, but just right here. Maybe it feels better to tuck both knees up or to wrap eagle legs, maybe to extend that right leg and reach, right? See what you can kind of create in the body. Notice how it feels, and then we move from there. That's your mental body, right? Having some clarity, having some sensitivity, access to decipher what feels good in the body. As you come gently back to center, scooch the hips underneath you, and we'll just take it to the other side, which might be a little bit different. And that's all you're doing, is giving room for that space. Right now you're creating a little more room for the breath to move. And you're kind of stretching out, taking up any shape, using each of these postures. And that's something I talk about often in class. It's the root of Vinyasa, right? Using these postures to support you. So you're not trying to stuff yourself in anywhere. Sort of the opposite of that. As you get a good breath, good rinse out, invite yourself back to center. As you sink into the mat a moment, tuck your knees, you can rock and roll a little, wiggle the toes, just a little bit of space spread across your brow, and then if and when you're ready, we're going to rock and roll gently through seated. All you're going to do is cross the legs, however you get onto all fours, and we'll make our way gently through your cow just to get a good breath in. Exhale to cat. And just awakening the spine. Take one more cow, but start to curl your toes under. And we'll press the hips up and back, downward facing. So pause here. At least in your mind to absorb all of the information that you can from the body. Take into account what you were doing this morning or yesterday or what you're off to. And try and use that intelligence piece of your brain. What do you need? What feels good? What's getting you to breathe? Settle slowly so you're not moving on automatic. You're making an entirely new practice for yourself. Feel your right foot, reach to the sky, and we'll peel open just a good breath or two. If it feels good to bend the knee or roll out ankles, wiggle toes, go for it. And then you're going to draw your knee towards your nose. We'll step right into Warrior One. Same process as you did in your down dog. Palms, maybe they land at heart. Maybe you're interlacing because it feels good to rinse the shoulders. But notice where you need to focus your mind and your body. Sometimes it's the feet. Maybe we're a little bit wobbly on some days. Maybe the hips are tight. Maybe you've been sinking into your hips because you've been seated all morning or all day, depending on when you're taking your practice. But all those bits and goodies, that's what's the good stuff. So as you take one more generous breath, right, with time you're opening Warrior Two. Try to move slowly so you get a chance to feel your body, use your body, and as you mold this pose around you to support maybe first the shoulders and a softer jaw, all kinds of variations. Maybe today's not a day where you're getting as deeply into the posture as you can. Maybe it's about finding a little uplifting energy. It's drawing length up the spine instead of sinking. So finding what you need here, another breath or two, and we're going to move mindfully towards your side angle. So maybe your elbow decorates the top of your thigh. You know, maybe you got something going on with the shoulder. You could reach to the sky. You could do extended variation. That bothers my left shoulder that's had surgery and a number of dislocations. So it's not a judgment if you can't do something, right? Support the body. Maybe you've been working a half bind or full bind these days, or you're upright. Does not matter. What matters is this feels good in your body. It's your breathing, that's all. So slowly, as you start to release, we're going to press forward towards standing leg split. So drop your palms. We'll press forward. Maybe you need something underneath the palms or you're working tented fingertips. Right? Gather up all the information that you can and try to make this your pose. Maybe you can drop your head heavier. Maybe you're working more of the hinge from your hips and you're reaching for your ankle. It's more of a active belly posture here, active breathing posture. So many things you could focus on, and this is really about what you choose to focus on. You have some choice here. Just activate those big toes. You're going to root down that grounded foot, and we'll sweep right into Utkatasana. It could be a chair pose, you could be on a bar stool, you could be in Thunderbolt. Blanca's sheer horror at the word of chair pose just now. But it's really up to you. You want to back up so you're in the heels so you have a little more balance in the body. That's it. And then what do you need? Are you off somewhere you need some energy? You'll be hyped up a little, a little lion's breath. Or, are you on the way to take a nap? You're going to bed, right? Moderate what you need here. 87, should I torture her just for all of those times she's kept you in Utkatasana? I don't know, it's a little tempting. What do you think, Blanca? She's still smiling, so there you have it. Just get a good breath in. Awesome. And then we're going to chaturanga, drop your palms. Take a choice. Take a few of them. Take your knees down. Maybe come into baby cobra. Find locust, up dog. We've been taking Biju Padasana in some of my classes lately. Maybe you love it. Maybe you have no idea what I just said. No matter. Come through tabletop on your way to down dog or puppy's pose. I'm not trying to overwhelm you. I'm just trying to remind you have a lot of choices and a lot of ways to support your body. You are never stuck. Not in this practice anyways. How about that? Left foot steps. I lied. Kick it up to the sky. Peel your hip open. Wiggle some toes, activate the belly, and we'll step slowly through to Warrior One. Maybe you got a little bit of groove going by now and you're starting to work a deeper stretch up the spine. Maybe it feels good to reach up and over and side to side. Maybe you love a little bit of revolved reverse version. Figure it out. What feels good, right? What is getting you to breathe? This is intelligence. You have choices, it's reminding ourselves to make them. So one more full breath here, and then go ahead and open Warrior Two. Any variation? You take a shorter stance today, perhaps. Maybe you've been working towards front knee over ankle and wiggling that front thigh parallel to the mat. If whatever you're doing is just a big bundle of struggle, well, that's not really yoga, and that's not what it's about. So I'd suggest maybe keep making some choices. And I'm sure your body would say the same thing. So 2 more breaths. Try to See what's there in this moment, in this body of yours, support it, and then we'll come right into side angle lunge. So if your front thigh is already burning up a little bit, how can you support a little more ease here? How can you loosen up a little bit of the effort in the posture? Or maybe you start by loosening up in the shoulders, your jaw, your exhales. Maybe they become a little more soft or more soothing to counterbalance the work that you feel in your legs, which is really the balance we're doing throughout the rest of our day. So you can take another breath, take any variation, and as you start to exhale, drop the palms and we'll press standing leg split. Maybe you get here and you love that hybrid three-legged dog variation and you're peeling the hip open, you're reaching your right fingers out in front of you, drawing more of a side body stretch. There is so much room in this body. I know it doesn't always feel like it, but halfway through practice, I know we've all managed to get little hints of that. Certainly by the time we get to Shavasana, you take one more generous breath here, and we'll come right into Utkatasana. So, land the feet. You can work hips width or toes to touch. Right? Sometimes we're pressing the knees together to activate the inner thighs, pelvic floor. Sometimes we're kind of scrubbing the feet outward to activate outer line of knees and hips. Sometimes it's more about moving the hips back so you're in the heels. But where's that sweet spot? 2. Rock it. Fire up one more breath cycle. Nice job. And then exhale, fold. Inhale to lengthen. And chaturanga on purpose. Maybe you jump to low. Maybe you come through high to low with the knees down. Sphinx even. But lengthen the spine and use the fullness of the breath. Finish it, and then downward facing. Feel your palms, feel your feet walk out. And then you can either walk your hands to the back of your mat or feet forward, really doesn't matter. As long as it's going to come a little towards the center, unless you want to be in the plant. Telling you a secret as you come rolling all the way up to standing. These plants are actually fake. But Blanca's been so diligent about watering them to keep them alive for you. I bought them because I'm a plant killer, so it'd be only be fitting. I've been good about not telling for days now, but it's just too fun not to. So we love you to pieces about it.
I saw that water.
That's why they look so great. Blanca's watering them. We're going to set up for tree. So you can pick a foot and choose the pose that supports you. Maybe start with the ankle, a little kickstand. You can turn to face the camera, that's okay. Maybe try your calf. I always suggest trying the one that makes you a little more active in your hips. I know I'm guilty of it as well, right? We put the foot at the inner thigh and we kind of like sink in, everything falls asleep. And then you're putting too much pressure on one side of your hips. So where are you most active throughout the body? Where can you maintain integration? You take one more breath here. And as you lift up through Utthita, maybe arms are reaching, maybe again you're interlacing. Do you want to do the revolved variation, or are you working on opening, reaching for toes? Do you need something closer to tree? You have 3 breaths. Maybe you're going for a bird of paradise from here. Who knows? But you got choices. So use that brain, your heart, consciousness throughout the body, not just isolated in your head. And then we're going to wrap right into eagle. So maybe you're only wrapping the legs, maybe palms to heart or hips. Toes, they don't always get behind the calf. If not, flex them. But move the hips a little bit behind you, stack the spine, and just take 2 more breaths to notice all of the things that are happening in your body. This practice isn't about you adding more and more and more and doing more work. It's about paying attention to what's there. So as you unravel figure 4, flex your toes. On this side, my right hip is a disaster, so this is always a very slow process. Flex the toes, drive your sits bones back. Maybe you're rocking an arm balance. Maybe you're just hinging. 2. And then Tadasana. Land both feet. palms open, take a good breath in, and we'll move through the other side. Tree pose, opposite foot. Could be something different on this side. Just make sure your foot's not on your knee, that's all. If you're wobbly, set your gaze somewhere, maybe at the ground. As it sounds, it's a little more grounding. But otherwise, love those wobbles because they're creating a lot of work that you love so much, right? A lot of balancing work, stability work for all of the joints. 3. Right, where are those biscuits most active? 2, lift right into Utthita Hasta. The Padangusthasana part is the peace fingers to toes, so you take the version that you would like. There's the knee, head to knee pose, and maybe you fell over sideways, maybe you sat down and took a, had a snack, just come back when you're ready. 2. And then we're gonna wrap eagle. Leg comes over, whatever leg went up and over, the same arm goes down and under. Maybe this is a hot mess and you're slithering all over the place. No worries. Just pay attention to what's there. That's the yoga, and you already have it, so you don't have to work for it. 2, keep your gaze. You got one more posture, figure 4s, and as you unravel, drive your sits bones way back. Back them up. Beep, beep, beep. Make sure you're working on this hip, not the right one, not the left one from yesterday or this morning, but whatever's going on in the hip right now, that's what you're working with. That's what you're supporting, most importantly. And other than that, you're supporting some breath here. And then we're going to lift through Tadasana. And take a long breath in. Reach all the way up to the sky, and as you exhale, forward fold. Inhale to flat back. We'll take one last chaturanga. Or not, maybe you just bring your knees down, cross your legs, come onto your back. That's where we are headed. So if you went to down dog, gently let your knees meet the mat. Cross legs, come onto your bum, and come all the way down onto your back. Extend your legs, and close your eyes for a moment. You're just letting yourself sink. Right? Feeling sensation, feeling the breath, feeling the body, feeling how everything is a little more connected. Shavasana. Just noticing for a moment how your practice has landed in your body. Right? Building emotional memory around what you've done, how you feel, not just physical memory. And then as you gently tuck your knees and come towards seated, or if you have time, you can linger. If you're off to bed, maybe you just hit stop and roll over. Otherwise, just pausing for a moment as you come back to a little bit of gratitude for this body, the breath, bringing palms to heart center. And eventually up to forehead center. As always, together we bow and we say, Namaste. Thank you, and thank you, Blanca, for watering the plants. We love you guys. We'll see you soon. Toodles.